Listen, a blessed and beautiful one to you and yours. It is time for our second conversation. And I did promise you that we would be talking about adapting our careers and thinking for future proofing. Now, if you've just joined us, this is DSTV's 802, if not 628 on OpenView HD. We are Channel Africa, and we bring you that African perspective. Today, we are diving into one of the most urgent conversations of our time: how we, as professionals and entrepreneurs, must adapt our thinking and our careers to stay relevant into the future. Now, according to World Economic Forum, over 44% of the core skills required for jobs will change by 2027. And AI-driven automation could impact up to 300 million jobs globally. But that's not all bad news. It's a massive opportunity for those who are looking to learn, adapt, think faster, think more critical about where they find themselves in the world. Think differently, if you will, with respect to the integration of technology and not necessarily against technology. Now, to unpack this, we are joined by Willem, who is an entrepreneurial thinking expert, a speaker, and of course, he joins us this evening. Willem will help us reshift our thinking, introduce adaptivity if this is something that you struggle with. Willem, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome back to the show.
Oh, yes, and thank you for having me tonight. We're going to have a fun conversation, and thank you for everyone tuning in.
I want us to start on a very exciting note. Now, you have been nominated, we understand, right, for the ASEB 2025 awards. Firstly, congratulations. I think
you.
that's very impressive. You are falling under the coach category, right?
Yes, Startup Coach of the Year.
Yes, sir. And how are you feeling about that?
Nice, because I won Startup Mentor of the Year in 2023. So it's nice, especially on the startup coaching side, because I've been doing it for 11 years.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, this is lovely. That is lovely. Now, with that being said, Willem, you help people shape their businesses. But we're learning that business is changing over time. And so some of the services and the offerings that we're thinking to give people in the next 10 years won't exist. How do we reframe? And I think this is something that people question, but they don't necessarily have an understanding of where to begin when it comes to thinking. Because it's like, I'm so used to, let's make it practical. I make lip balms. I'm so used to making lip balms, but the way that lip balms will be made in the next 10 years will prove to be very different from now. I've got my set suppliers, I've got people I source from, but in the next 10 years, they might not exist because all of that might be automated. I don't know how I'm going to adapt my business to that front because firstly, I'm panicking that they won't have jobs. But also I'm thinking to myself, I don't know how to use technology. I've just gotten my products, sold them to my WhatsApp community, and that's it. How do we start to rethink without panicking of what is to come?
That's a very good question. And I want to push technology out of that conversation for a starter. So everybody's talking about technology will change and all of these things. And it boils down to the basics. You need to learn to become adaptable in all areas of life. If you don't become adaptable as a human being, you're not going to be adaptable as a business owner, as an employee. You know, like I tell people, I want to be a great leader. Well, if you don't lead yourself, you won't lead your family, you won't lead your community, and you won't lead your country. So it all starts with self. So it starts with developing that adaptability within yourself to start doing things differently. Now you've probably heard the term growth mindset and fixed mindset, and everybody's like, that's nice. And then you ask them, so what does it mean? And they go like, I need to go and get a cup of coffee. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And the simplest way that I found to describe the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset is a growth mindset is I try new things. A fixed mindset, I don't try new things. And you have to ask yourself, how am I trying new things? So with your lip balm, am I experimenting and trying with different types of lip balm, different ingredients, different sizes, different markets, and different applications? You know, somebody sent me a joke one day. A guy picked up a bottle of shampoo. your car wash, engine wash, dish wash, hair and body wash. And the guy like, yeah, this works for me.
Okay.
A woman would cringe in that, but the point is just to see what different people want and need. And it's just having that experimentation mindset from the beginning. And that can even start at as simple as doing a different menu than what you used to every week. Have you noticed families? Wednesday is this, Thursday is chicken schnitzel, and this, and you go like, wow, we really have 5 dishes that we eat the whole time, and do takeaways on the Friday night.
Yeah.
And start with your adaptability into that, with your diet and just cooking and playing it, and getting the family involved into that whole shift. And that'll teach everybody to step outside of their comfort zone.
Sure. This ties in well to lifelong learning, right? And I do think that that's a skill that, and I can't say why it's being snipped off, but with every coming generation, it's almost like it's being snipped off. There comes a point where you think you know, and then you cut off the learning, the curiosity, the agency to want to develop yourself, because you do feel developed. How do we fight that mindset?
By making a decision.
Okay.
It's a decision that you have to make. And I stand corrected. I read this statistics many years ago, but I think about 60% of graduates in America, once they finish their degree, never read another book in that field over the course of their career. 60%. Something like that. But if you look specifically at engineers, by the time that they finish their degree, the stuff that they've learned are outdated. So lifelong learning, and I want a lot of people get nervous when you say lifelong learning, because they're like, what do you mean? So I studied this, do I have to study something new? I don't want to start a new career, and I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. Lifelong learning is to make learning part of your life, part of your daily life. And it's really as simple as that. Instead of trying to launch a new career in a new direction every 5 or 10 years, bring learning into a daily activity, but make it deliberate. So many young people will come to my class with one of these big folders with certificates of courses that they've done. And I ask the guy, okay, cool. Of all those courses, do you use that information in your daily life? He says, no. I said, well, give me the folder. Let me go and throw it in the dustbin. Woo! Did they fight me on that one? I said, well, knowing and not using is the same as not knowing at all. So when you choose to go into a lifelong learning phase, ask yourself, how is this helping me to become better, more efficient, faster in whatever I'm trying to do? And that might be parenting, might be life, might be work, might be business. It's your choice, but make sure that it's in alignment.
Willem, let's go back to that intro stat, right? That spoke of 44% of core skills evaporating by 2027, right? That is something that does rock a number of boats. How can professionals shift from fear to fluency?
When it comes to your lifelong learning, especially that, let's get back to that. It's about adapting to that. Now, most people, when they try to adapt, they think, I have to jump from the one side of the room to the other side of the room in one go. And many people try to do that, and then they fail, and then they demotivate. Instead, you need to take one foot in front of the other towards the other side of the room, and then another and another. And if it works, you continue. If it doesn't work, you step back or you change direction. So what do I mean by that? Lifelong learning comes in little chunks. If you want to be more financially literate, learn more about money and the management of money. If you read an article on your mobile phone about financial management, it can take you, let's say, 3 minutes. Okay, and you read 3 articles a day, that's 10 minutes. You do that 7 days a week. That's 1,050 articles over a year. Do you think you're going to think differently about money? Do you think you're going to have more knowledge about financial? And that's the thing. It's people overestimate the short term and they underestimate the long term. And it's that incremental shift that you can do. And if you go back to the 3 article thing, that's 10 minutes a day. Imagine you take 30 minutes a day. So in the morning you read 10 minutes about this subject, afternoon 10 minutes about that subject, and then the evening 10 minutes. So now you do 1,050 articles around 3 different topics over a year. So that is 3,150. And if it's in alignment where you want to go, you're in a very good position. So it's the small steps.
The voice there of Willem Gous. He is an entrepreneurial thinking expert joining us this evening. We are looking at adapting our careers and thinking for future proofing. Willem, I want us to talk about, and the reason why I keep on going back to change is that I think that we have an intrinsic issue with change.
Yes,
a lot of there's like you want to fight even though you don't understand what the change is. It's not necessarily the AI that's problematic. It's the fact that Sheila likes consistency. And so anything that comes to interrupt my regular programming, I want to oppose. Now, as somebody who is looking to benefit, yes, I can practice the small incremental changes, but when I see that I come to the office and no longer do I need to do research because there's an entire PC that has AI settings that you put one subject matter and 50 articles come down, you've introduced change. And I'm starting to feel uncomfortable. What perceived view should we have of change?
That's a good thing. Change happens on a few levels. You have to understand. Something new comes in, and it's the newness. On one level, you're going to be drawn to that. Go like, oh, this is nice. This is going to save and everything else. But second of all, it's something you know. And it's a habit that you have in your life. I come to work, I do this research, I present this, and that's why it's the habit that you have. Now, is it perfect, your workflow that you have around that? No. Can it be improved? Yes. But those things that don't work, you've developed workarounds around that. And then you sit with the uncertainty of the new. Is it going to be as good as me? Will I sound like me? So all of these things are fighting against your drawing towards the new thing. And this happens on all areas. If it's a new car, if it's a new bed, if it's moving a house, doing something different at work, studying into a new environment as well. So that's normal. And if you fear change, that's okay. Best thing that I can suggest is, what's the smallest shift that you can make that doesn't push you into a panic?
Sure.
And then do the next one. So play in a psychological safe environment. But push yourself to uncomfortableness, not panic. And that's where the small steps come in again. So to use your research idea. So now instead of researching the whole program, you get it to do one little 5-minute segment. And you get it to do that for you. You get used to it, and you and the system find each other, and then you can try another and another. But if the 5 minutes don't work, instead of going, oh, this is not working, ask yourself, how might I make this work?
Sure. I like that. How might? We spoke about that.
Yes, one of my favorite questions.
Willem, we live in a rushed world. Everything around us is so rushed that we have normalized hurrying up. We've normalized being quick about things. How do we slow down to appreciate the 10 minutes of reading that I do, as opposed to trying to do 2 hours and getting tired in 3 days?
That's a very interesting question. It boils down to agreements. Let me explain. Would you set up a meeting with a close friend or even a business client and then not arrive for the meeting? Would you not?
Why?
Why? Would that make you look bad? Unprofessional? Okay, cool. How many meetings have you set up with yourself and not pitched for those? Yes. We hold agreements for other people, but we don't hold agreements for ourselves. And that comes in again to the adaptability. It's not about just doing new things. Doing new things are very easy. It's stop doing old things. That's the difficult thing. So if you're used to, after dinner, wind down, have a beer, watch your favorite 1 hour series, and you go like, that's nice. Okay, cool. What about let's not do that? And but then there's a problem. But it's something that my wife and I do together, and then this and there. So there's a lot of pushback inside of you to stop doing things in order to start doing something new. Because the problem that I've seen, and being a parent of a teenager, is they want to do everything that they still do in a day, like they do in a holiday, and fit in school. And you're like, no, it's not going to work. There's a limit to that.
Yeah.
And some things, if you really ask yourself, would this be important? If I was 70 years old now, and I reflect back to this moment in time and the things that I plan to do for tonight, would that really be important to me? So ask your older self for some advice.
Sure. Again, there, the voice of Willem Gous joining us this evening, entrepreneurial thinking expert, and we're looking at adapting our careers and thinking for future proofing. 35 after 11 p.m. Central African time. We take a quick breather. When we get back, we get into part 2 of this conversation.